Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, family? How are you? Happy Wednesday, happy winter solstice, and happy pre 2023. All right. So, welcome to a special edition of the yearly Astro forecast for the upcoming year 2023. So excited to be bringing this live to you guys because a lot of important information. You definitely don't want to miss it. So settle in, get some snacks, get some drinks, because we are going in on the astrology. All right. And of course, if you missed that little intro thing there and you're wondering, who the hell am I am Mel, your new favorite astrologer here at Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. And as always, if you are new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. This channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you will always be notified when I come out with new content. And speaking of content, if you want even more, head over to Instagram and hit that follow button. I've got loads of excellent, and when I say excellent, I mean excellent daily content for that ass. All right. So head over there, hit that follow button. All right, so let's get things underway. So we'll start by letting the people on Twitter know that we are live so that they can come over and join us. And so, yeah, like I mentioned before, this is the 2023 yearly astro forecast. I cannot believe that we are even I can't even believe that we are on the brink of 2023. I feel like time has sped up. This year has been a blur, and I feel like time is only going to get faster as we progress forward. So it's really important that you heed the information in these forecasts because everything is building upon itself. What's going on in 2022 is helping prepare you for 2023. And what's going on in 2023 is helping you prepare for 2024 and beyond. Everything is cyclical. Everything goes in order. So it's not like, okay, 2022 is done. Whatever happened in 2022 stays in 2022. There's a lot of important information, a lot of lessons that you should have gleaned, a lot of things that you should have learned in 2022 that you are going to be bringing into 2023. I mean, obviously, there are certain things you don't want to bring with you, right? You don't want to bring emotional baggage. You don't want to bring trauma, wounds. You want to step into this new fiscal year because, of course, this isn't the real new year. January is not the real new year. You want to move into this new fiscal year fresh and ready to take on some new energies. And when I tell you there's some new energies in 2023, like we are literally entering a new generation. We're sort of getting a sneak peek of it, okay? A lot of interesting sort of energy this year, but we're getting a sneak peek at what is ahead, all right? But speaking of ahead, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. As always, let's start with some announcements and some housekeeping. So by way of housekeeping, if you are joining me here on the live, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up on your way in and feel free to say hello in the chat, all right? And even if you're watching on the replay, definitely don't forget to hit that thumbs up. These lives, these forecasts are meant to give you as much information as possible, valuable information that you can use moving forward. And if you find that this information is valuable to you and you learn some things, definitely hit that thumbs up. All right. So, by way of announcements, if you are someone that is interested in your horoscope, you want to see what's going on for the week, I have this service where I text your weekly horoscope every Monday to your phone. All right. And so if you're interested in that, you'll see the ticker on the bottom of the screen. Just text ZODIAC to 8. What's the number? I keep forgetting. 855-826-5544. All right. That's ZODIAC to 855-826-5544. And if you missed that, that information will be in the description box below. All right. And then last thing with respect to announcements, as usual, if you are someone who is new to astrology or if you've been studying astrology and you feel like you need a refresher, I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology. All right. Astrology, it is divination, but it's also very much a science. And as you know, science requires studying and research. So this cheat sheet gives you the quick and dirty on the 4 basic pillars of astrology, namely the planets, the houses, the signs, and the aspects. It's an 11-page PDF document that gives you the summary of all these things so you can start studying and start committing them to memory. All right. And so if you're interested in downloading this cheat sheet. The link is going to be in the description box below. Completely free download. You just have to drop your email address and you are good to go. All right. So let's get back into it. Wow. Mercury retrograde is definitely still retrograding. Most definitely. Everything that can malfunction is starting to malfunction. And it's still in the pre-retrograde shadow period. So it's like little things here and there. I feel like the major upsets and the major mishaps are definitely on its way. But, you know, it is what it is. Mercury retrograde isn't the shit show that we've been conditioned to think it is. But I will get into that later because we're actually going to discuss that at length in this forecast. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. And to start at the beginning, we need to start with the general energy for the year. All right. So let's get into it. All right, my love. So as you probably just saw, 2023 by way of numerology is a universal 7-year. And this is extremely important if we are talking about the general energy and sentiment and feeling of 2023. But to find out where we're going, we sort of need to talk about where we've been and sort of what 2022 was like. So 2022 was a 6 universal year. And 6 is the number of Venus, so it has a very Venusian feel to it. It's got that Taurus element, that Libra element, that element of socializing and of relationships. So by and large, if I had to sum up 2022, it would be we outside. Like 2022 was the time for you to start relating to people, especially after the pandemic and all of that. This was sort of our re-entry back into society. It was our way of reestablishing relationships. It was our way of figuring out not only who's important to us, but our values as well, because Venus is all about values. So a lot of us were social during 2022. A lot of us were relating to people. Relationships was a heavy topic, particularly towards the tail end of 2022, definitely fourth quarter. By the time we got to the eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio starting in October, that theme of relationships was being hit hard. And whenever you're talking about eclipses, you're talking about the universe moving things around, whether putting things in your life, whether eclipsing things out of your life, to sort of get you to where you need to go. And the major theme of that was relationships. So now that we're at the very end of 2022 and we're about to go into a new year with a new energy, think about your relationships this year. And not just your relationships. When I say relationships, I don't just mean like your romantic relationships. This could be any sort of relationships, or even the relationship you have with yourself or with God or the universe, right? It's also about looking at your values. Did you uphold your values? Did you kind of revamp your values? It's really important that you sort of take stock of those things, because you're going to need all of that information going into 2023, all right? Because 2023 is a universal 7-year, and 7 is a powerful number. It is the number of God, basically. It's the number of completion. But most importantly, if there is nothing else that you get from this video tonight, I want you to understand that 2023 is a year of intellect plus intuition, okay? It's almost like we're going to have to use our complete selves in order to move forward. And keep in mind, I keep saying completion, because that is the frequency of the number 7. It's not going to be enough for you to just think about yourself or your life in terms of your body or your physical nature. And in the same token, it's not going to be enough to just think of your spiritual body either. You have to think of both of these. It's about being whole. 2023 is a year of being whole. If you watched my, I did a channeled message video about 2 weeks ago on important information to know about 2023. And basically, I said in that video that you need to know who you are inside and out, and stand convicted in who you are spiritually and physically. And that's going to be something that you're going to be working on during 2023, your identity, your essence, your wholeness may be tested in 2023, tested in order for you to build resolve, right? In order to build that conviction that you need to move forward. But by and large, 2023 as a 7-year is about intellect and intuition. It's also, you can also think of it in terms of spiritual and scientific. I don't want you to think of it as exclusive, right? It's not an either or situation. It's an and situation, right? It's not just about, meditating and praying and manifesting, right? That's part of it. But it's also about doing research. It's also about doing the work. It's also about asking the right questions and finding the right answers. Now, the answers can be found in a variety of places. You may find answers externally, like in books or from others, right? Or the answers that you need may be within you. And 2023 is going to ask you to dig deep within yourself to get everything that you need. But regardless, it's about a holistic approach to your life and to your identity. That is the essence of 2023 being a number 7 year. It's also about personal growth and evolution. Again, you can't have growth and evolution without addressing your wholeness. If you're only thinking about your physical, let's say, you're not, I hate saying this, but let's say you're just not awakened, right? Let's say you're still very much heavily rooted in the matrix and you haven't started waking up. You may think of 2023 as just another year, a year that you want to lose weight, a year that maybe you want to save up and go to Bali, a year that maybe you want to get a BBL or you want to get calf implants or whatever the fuck you want to get, right? You're missing a complete part of yourself. And in doing so, you're only doing yourself a disservice, because come 2024 and beyond, if you don't know who you are, it's going to be a real problem. Let's just say that, okay? 2023 is a 7-year. This is when we establish our wholeness. This is where we really figure out who we are, what we're here to do, and actually do it. Because guess what? 2024 is an 8-year, and that's all about money. It's all about resources, but not in the way that you think. The world, society is undergoing a really major transformation. And this year, this 2023 in particular, is about getting right inside and out, getting right in your mind and getting right in your body, getting right in your body and getting right in your spirit. You have to take a holistic approach to this year and to your life. I'm telling you, if you don't, things are only going to get so much harder. Forget just getting lost in the sauce. I honestly feel like some people are really not going to be here anymore. If you're not on that wavelength, it's going to be really tough for you. All right. So like I said before, 2022 was a 6-year. So this was all about like living outwardly, expressing ourselves outwardly, and sort of exerting our energy outwardly. Whereas this 2023 year, this 7 universal year, is about directing that energy inward. Okay. And addressing your body and your spirit. In the same token, you can't say that you're woke. You can't say that you're ascending and your diet has gone to shit. You can't say that your body looks great and your soul is rotten. Like, you got to get on board with both. And that's what 2023 is all about. All right. It's also a year of slowing down. Like I said, 2022, it's like we outside, right? Like we doing the most, we getting back to reality. There was a sort of a fast pace to it, right? Because we felt like we needed to make up for lost time, for the time that we were hibernating, for the time that we were on lockdown and all of that stuff, right? People wanted to make the most of 2022. They wanted to go here, they wanted to go there, they wanted to do a lot of things, and that's great. The energy of 2022 was conducive to that. 2023 is not that year, though. It is not that year for you to be outside. It's not that year for you to be looking for everything externally. It's that year for you to be looking at everything in here, right? And that requires you to slow down. And slowing down may look different to everybody, right? It may be, maybe you're carving out more time for yourself. Maybe you're not partying as much. Maybe you're revamping your life to where, you don't work a 9 to 5 anymore. Maybe you're Sovereignty and your autonomy is something that is important to you. That's part of your personal and spiritual evolution. So maybe you start working for yourself. But regardless, you need to slow down and look within. And then lastly, what I'll say about that is whenever we're talking about intuition, we're talking about being led by spirit. We're talking about being led by the unseen, having faith in the unseen. And so a large part of 2023, I believe, is going to be going with the flow. Okay. And if you're going with the flow, the first word that should come to mind is surrender. This isn't a year to buck the system unless that's what you are prompted and guided to do. I feel like this is a year of being led by spirit. When you're led by spirit, the spiritual and the physical are taken care of for you. You don't have to wonder, what do I do to be healthy? Spirit will tell you. You don't have to wonder, where do I go? What should I do to make money? Spirit will tell you, right? And that sort of addresses your identity, your purpose, and all of that stuff holistically. Because again, it's all about a holistic approach in 7. 7 is the number of completion. It's the number of God. It's the number where we search for truth, wisdom, understanding, and perfection. Okay, this is when we really try to get closer to God, to the universe, whatever you believe in, right? This is the year to make that happen. And doing so will not only set you up for the future, lovely, right? But it also has its rewards, whether they be in the physical, whether they be spiritual. Maybe your spiritual gifts come online. Maybe your abundance finally comes in. This work is not in vain, all right? Don't think of it as a chore either. If you think of it as a chore, it's not really going to be that beneficial to you. But if you think of it as, I'm preparing myself, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm putting in the work, I'm addressing myself holistically, that's when everything is going to come together. If you're talking about manifestation, this is the year where things start to manifest because you are now whole. You've addressed everything. You've put all of the pieces together, and now things can finally come to fruition. So take it for what it is. I mean, if you're listening to this video, if this video finds you, then you're already on this wavelength. I feel like I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. But if you just happen to come across this video and you're like, Mel, what are you talking about? Like, get on the first thing to do. If you don't know what to do, meditate. If you have no idea where to start, what to do first, meditate. Get into a consistent meditation practice. Everything will start to fall into place. Everything will start to fall into place. But yes, intellect, intuition, universal year 7. All right. So hopefully that information didn't go over your head. You understood what I meant and you're ready to move forward. All right. So that's the general energy for 2023. Let's move on to the astrological information. All right, so we start things off with Mars retrograde in Gemini. Okay, now this transit is nothing new. We've actually been in this transit since October 30th. Okay, but it's not until January 12th when Mars will go direct in Gemini, and then it's not leaving Gemini until March 25th. So when Mars is in Gemini, we are revved up. We are amped. We want to learn new things. We want to socialize with people. It's a lot of busybody energy, and it's really like rapid fire. It's very bold. It's very dynamic. Okay. But when Mars is retrograde, that energy is like powered down a bit. That Martian energy is directed inward. And what I really like about Mars retrograde in Gemini is that it allows you to assess where you've been spending your energy, especially your mental energy. If you find that your thoughts have been all over the place, if you find that your reality is reflecting things to you that you don't like, the first thing you need to examine is your mind. Where is your mind? Mars retrograde in Gemini is great for trying to understand what you've been putting your thoughts into. Have you been putting your thoughts into good things, things that you want to manifest, the stories and the narratives that you want to tell yourself to yield and to bring to fruition the life that you truly want? Or are you focused on things that are low vibrational, that are gossipy, that have nothing to do with your advancement in life? Or you've just been focused on negative thoughts, negative self-talk, or even fuck shit? Like, if you notice, your reality is the perfect litmus test for where your mind is at. And that can sound a little harsh and it could feel a little overwhelming because, we are in charge of our reality. We create our reality, and we create our reality with our thoughts. If you've been thinking garbage thoughts over and over and over and over again, your reality, I can guarantee you, does not look that good. Or it doesn't look like you want it to look. Why? Because your thoughts aren't right. Mars retrograde in Gemini lets you get your mind right, lets you assess where you've been spending your mental energy. This is also a time where your thoughts might quiet down. If there's a time to actually start a meditation practice, and by practice, I don't mean anything elaborate, just meditating every day, even if you start with just 5 minutes a day, it would be now, because Mars retrograde in Gemini slows down your mental thinking. Please don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that you're slow. I'm just saying that those thoughts are not going to be running a mile a minute. So it's perfect. I would suggest you start right now. If you haven't gotten into meditating on a regular basis, now is the perfect time to do so, because our thoughts are just not as crazy as they normally would with this transit, okay? This allows you to rewire your brain, okay? And I love this because, manifestation is all about thoughts become things, right? And so if you're looking to change your thoughts, Mars retrograde in Gemini is perfect for that. It allows you to rewire your brain, rewire your thoughts. It also allows you to stop fighting with yourself so much. Your conflicting thoughts, your negative self-talk, that also slows down a bit with Mars retrograde in Gemini. So it's a really good time to get your mind right. And this flows well with what I was saying earlier about 2023 being a universal 7-year. So take advantage right now. But this is a time, Mars retrograde is not a time for taking action. Not only because it's retrograde. So whenever a planet is retrograde and you kind of take action, you don't necessarily get the results that you would hope for, that you expect. But Mars retrograde actually gives you less physical energy. So it actually makes it physically harder to start things, or at least to start things and sustain them. Okay, so this is a quiet time. This is a chill time. So until January 12th, it's time for you to really just chill, get your mind right. And especially because Mercury is going retrograde, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is all about the mind. Like, your mind is going to be playing tricks on you. It's just going to be really hard to just do things. Okay, it's going to be a challenge to get your mind right. I'm not even going to lie to you, but with Mars retrograde, Mercury about to go retrograde, quiet your mind, just chill. Try not to start anything new that's, it's not to say that you can't have goals. It's not to say that you shouldn't make plans. It's just that implementing those things may be challenging, and sticking to those plans even after these planets go direct may also be a bit challenging. So just chill. It's the end of the year anyway. Just chill. Try to get your mind right. Get into a meditative practice and start the year off right. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. All right, so I just alluded to this before. Mercury is going retrograde in Capricorn. And it's going retrograde on December 29th, and it will be retrograde in Capricorn until January 18th. I'm not going to say I'm a hardcore fan of Mercury retrograde, because the electronic mishaps, the delays, and all of that can be super frustrating, right? But I do like it for the fact that it allows you to reflect. It also allows you to redo things. I feel like people don't talk about that enough. They're all like, oh, my Raggedy X is coming back, or oh, my phone fell in the toilet, or all of those things. There's a much deeper meaning to Mercury retrograde, and you get a redo. Okay, one of the important things to know about 2023 is that Mercury, there's going to be 4 periods of Mercury retrograde, and they are all happening in Earth signs: Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. All right. So throughout 2023, anytime we have a Mercury retrograde, it's going down in an Earth sign. And this is important because Earth is all about tangible things. So with Mercury retrograde, you get a redo with certain situations, like actual situations, for better or for worse, but probably for the better. You can revise, especially when Mercury goes retrograde in Virgo. Like, that's the time where you can redo contracts, renegotiate contracts, get a better deal, those kind of things. If there's something that you've been working at for a long time, a long-term goal of yours, especially with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, which is fastly approaching, this is the time where you get to redo certain things. And that's a really important thing. Redoing is a pretty big deal, right? Because you get to restructure, reorganize, redo whatever didn't work out the first time around. Okay. And if you look at Mercury retrograde that way, think of it as, yes, you may have to you take 1 step forward, and yes, you may have to take 2 steps back, but it's to propel you forward, right? It's not the monster. It's not the shit show that everyone makes it out to be. Okay. So the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, this is reviewing past plans, especially concerning work matters. Okay. So if there is something within your career that you've been working on, this is a great time to restructure, reorganize, redo some of those things. It's also a great time to review your past goals, successes, and achievements. Capricorn energy is all about success and achievement. So Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, it sort of allows you to pat yourself on the back, right? If you've done a really good job, if you've been working diligently all year, you may find that Mercury retrograde actually in Capricorn actually is a time when you get recognized for a job well done, particularly while the sun is still in Capricorn, okay? So this may be a time where you're sort of taking stock of how far you've come, patting yourself on the back, rewarding yourself, or being rewarded or recognized by others for previous work that was done well. So it could be a really good time, especially at the end of the fiscal year. Okay. This particular Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is going to be conjunct Venus in Capricorn. So this Mercury retrograde, I call it Mercury retrograde 1, it's going to have a financial undertone to it. Okay. So this may be past financial plans, past financial matters that may come back around. But again, just because it comes back around doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. This may be a time where you can restructure deals, redo deals, all of that good stuff. Being that it's going to be conjunct Venus, and Venus is the planet of love. Yes, this may be your ex coming back around. Okay. But don't expect any someone in riding on a white horse or a damsel in distress to be saved, or a whole bunch of emotions. Venus in Capricorn is getting down to business. So it's the practical elements of a relationship. So maybe if you broke up with someone in the past and they come back around, this is about practically getting the relationship back on track, seeing how this person or this relationship fits practically into your life, and how to make it real and tangible, not some pie in the sky fantasy. All right. So again, gives you a good opportunity to review what you've done over the year in 2022, review your aspirations, review, anything that you've done regarding work or career, and pat yourself on the back for a job well done. All right, so let's move on. All right, so next up, we've got Saturn in Pisces. Okay, and so this is going down on March 7th. So on March 7th, Saturn is going to enter Pisces, where it will remain for the rest of the year. Now, this is extremely important because it fits right into what I was talking about before, with this being a 7 universal year. Pisces is the sign of spirituality. It is the sign of faith. It is the sign of the unseen, of the unknown. And with Saturn in Pisces, so the number 7 year has that energy that I talked about before, right? Intellect and intuition. That's the numerology of it. The astrological equivalent of intellect plus intuition would be Saturn in Pisces. And with Saturn being in Pisces for the majority of the year, this energy of addressing your spirituality and addressing your humanity is going to be played out very heavily, okay? So Saturn is actually going to be in Pisces over the next 3 years, from 2023 until 2026. All right. So it's going to go direct into Pisces on March 7th, and then it's going to go retrograde in Pisces from June 17th through November 4th. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about Saturn, Saturn usually gets a bad rap because it is the planet of delays, of challenges, and of hardships. It's the planet of karma. It's the planet of like the school of hard knocks, basically. Okay. But what's interesting with Saturn and Pisces is that those delays, those obstacles are only going to be made worse if you are not addressing your spiritual side. If you are not addressing your soul, if you are not addressing your spiritual body, your year is going to be hell on earth, literally. If you are not taking a holistic approach to yourself, you are going to have a really tough time. If you are trying to go at everything alone, if you think that you can handle everything yourself, if you think that you can control everything, if you think that it is just you doing things out here, Saturn has got something for that ass. Okay? Saturn is going to whip you into shape. Saturn is going to make you address your spirituality. It's going to make you address the unknown. And it's not to say that you have to sign up with a religion or ascribe to any sort of spiritual ideology. You just have to know that you're not alone in this. Yes, we are the creators of our reality. That goes without saying. But we co-create with the creator. All right. And when you get into that cadence, when you get into that pattern, when you get into that combination of you co-creating with the creator, that's when manifestation happens. That's when the magic happens. And if you do that, Saturn's going to reward you handsomely. If you don't, Saturn is going to whoop your fucking ass. Just to put it bluntly. All right. This is the integration of body and spirit. Okay. Saturn is representative of Capricorn energy, that practical, that very tangible energy, that heavy, that dense energy. With Pisces, that is high. Pisces, that is spiritual. Pisces, that is otherworldly. Pisces, that is up in the clouds, ethereal. You mix those two together, right? You've got an upper and you've got a downer. You've got to find a happy medium. That's everything. That is the essence of 2023. It's finding that happy medium between body and spirit, basically. Now, Saturn can also represent fears, okay? And some people are going to be confronting their fears with respect to their spiritual bodies, right? Maybe you are afraid of success, right? Because Pisces also covers dreams and aspirations. Saturn in Pisces may bring out fears related to success. It may bring fearing your spirituality or your spiritual side. Maybe you are a control freak. You can't relinquish control to someone or something that you cannot see. And that theme, that concept, I feel like is going to be hammered into you with Saturn in Pisces this year. This is going to be lessons from spirit and things that you can't necessarily see. Like, you have to rely on spirit. It's like that famous Martin Luther King quote. It's like walking down the steps when you can only see the stair right in front of you, right? It's about having faith in the unseen. Okay? This could also be about karmic retribution. So if you've been doing some fuck shit, yeah, Saturn in Pisces, it's like you're really going to feel it on the spiritual level, though. So keep that in mind. Again, that may be things that you can't necessarily see. For some, I feel like this transit may be about lack of faith due to lack of evidence, right? Again, Pisces is that energy of the unknown. It's about faith in the unseen. And if you're only moving based on what you can see with your physical eyes and your five senses, you're missing the bigger picture. And Saturn in Pisces is going to make things a bit more difficult for you, more so than it would normally be if Saturn were not in Pisces, right? So if that's how you move, if you move only based on what you can see, what you can perceive, what you know in your mind, based on knowledge, based on specific skills, this transit and 2023 in general is going to be a bit difficult for you. All right. Now, one of the nice things about Saturn in Pisces, and one of the nice things about 2023 being a universal 7 year, is that you can work on your creative endeavors. There's going to be a bit of a shift generally, I feel like, in society and just the energy of the year generally, in not so much work that's your typical corporate 9 to 5 work. This is a shift towards more creative endeavors. Just think about like the creator economy right now, how you have people, a lot of kids in particular, who make millions of dollars rather, just by creating content, just by being creative. We're going to see a lot more of that ramp up in 2023. So if you have something that you're good at, if you have a hobby, if you have something that you really love to do that showcases your creativity, Saturn in Pisces is sort of going to reward you for actually making that a priority, for actually putting that out and putting it forward. This isn't the time to hide behind your 9 to 5. This isn't a time. 2023 is not the year where you keep on working and you have no ambitions of your own. It's not the year where you want to work and not create anything of your own. This year, 2023, is a year of creation. However you want to do it, however you want it to look, you have to create, and not just from your brain, from your soul, from your heart. Doing so, you're going to get rewarded by Saturn. All right. So the Saturn in Pisces energy is definitely in line with the 7 universal year. So heed this message. It's a year of creation. It's a year of body and spirit and integrating the two. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. This is the transit of 2023. This transit of Pluto in Aquarius, this is what is ushering in a new generation. Yes, we're already in the age of Aquarius, but things are going to get even more Aquarian when Pluto makes its way into Aquarius. This is when technology is going to go through the roof, okay? Now, here's the thing. Pluto is going to spend a very short amount of time in Aquarius in 2023. So 2023 is going to be the sneak preview of what is to come, okay? So Pluto is going to be in Aquarius from March 23rd to June 11th. That's the short window of time that we're going to be able to see what this new generation is going to be like, all right? But before then, between February and March of 2023, shit will likely hit the fan, okay? Because Pluto is going to be at that last degree of Capricorn, at that 29th degree, which is known as the anaretic degree. That's like the final pass of the wrecking ball. This wrecking ball has been going through Capricorn for years, okay? So now that Pluto is getting ready to change signs, we're probably going to see Pluto leave Capricorn with a bang. Like I said, it's going to be the final pass of that wrecking ball. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hear about a major like governmental shutdown, major government dismantling, a major corporation crumbling, could be even like literally, because Capricorn is like about tangible things, about buildings. You might hear about an earthquake or something like that. Something along those lines is going to happen right before Pluto enters Aquarius, okay? Because that last pass of the wrecking ball is about dismantling what is no longer working. Because Pluto and Capricorn, quick astrology lesson. Capricorn and Aquarius are actually governed by the same planet, Saturn, but it's expressed differently. Capricorn, Saturn, as it is expressed in Capricorn, is about structure. It's about rigidity. It's about sticking to what you know. Saturn, as expressed in Aquarius, is about taking things to a new level, building a new structure. So before Pluto leaves Capricorn, it's got to decimate whatever is left, whatever is not working before it moves into Aquarius and starts forming a new foundation and a new structure. Okay, so that's what we have to look forward to with that. And it's going to be, when I say this is like an amazing time to be alive. It really is. And keep in mind, you signed up for this. So at some point, eons ago, you decided, you know what? I am going to incarnate on Earth as this person at this time to experience this because things are completely changing. So when I say the term new generation, I mean it literally. Okay. So we have the baby boomers, we have Gen X, we have millennials, we have Gen Z, and then we have whatever, I don't know what these younger kids are called. They're called something completely different. All of those generations are determined by Pluto. Everyone who's a boomer has Pluto in Virgo, or maybe even Leo and Virgo. A lot of Gen Xers have Pluto in Virgo as well. A lot of millennials have Pluto in Libra. Gen Z has Pluto in Scorpio and into Sagittarius. So the fact that Pluto is moving into a different sign means we're having a completely different generation of humans. I can only imagine what the children born when Pluto is in Aquarius are going to be like. On a spiritual level, for us, I'm a millennial, right? We gravitate to spirituality and things like that a little easier than like Gen Xers or definitely boomers, right? But Gen Z, they're like already on it. They've been exposed to it from a younger age. Whereas it's something that, you know, millennials, especially older millennials, have had to learn. It's these things are becoming innate as the generations progress. And so the Pluto in Aquarius generation, I mean, these kids are going to be, I don't want to say robots, but these kids are going to be like extraterrestrials. They're going to have, you know, their psychic abilities, their spiritual gifts are going to be so innate and so powerful. I feel like they're going to be like aliens to us, but in a good way. So when I say new generation, that's what I mean. Apart from that, technology is just going to be through the roof. What we're going to be able to do with technology, where we're going to be able to go with technology is just going to be astronomical. It's going to be amazing. And we are at the forefront of seeing this change, okay? Now, keep in mind what I said before about this being a universal 7-year. This is about getting your mind and your body right? Because things are shifting. Not only are we entering a new generation, the collective consciousness is changing. The frequency of the earth that we are literally on right now is elevating. If you don't get your mind and your body right, you're not going to be able to keep riding this train. It's going to be a situation where you may find people that aren't going to make it because they're just not built for it. This is the year where you get yourself together, where you get your shit together, because things are really changing, okay? The way that we're going to be able to think, our ideology, our technology is obviously going to advance, right? This is going to be about working together. The characteristic frequency of Aquarian energy is humanity and working together. All of this distraction, Democrats, Republicans, black, white, these are distractions to keep you from the task at hand. The task is not to separate. The task is to understand that we are one. We're the same shit, just different meat suits, okay? When you get that, the faster that you get that, the more that we can get on and do what we need to do and save this earth, okay? This is about working together. This is about advancing humanity, both with civil rights and humanitarianism, okay? So again, don't fall for the okie doke. Don't get distracted by all of this bullshit to get you from doing what you are here to do, okay? This is about thinking about the future rather than relying on the past. These distractions are meant to keep you in the past, whether they keep you a slave to your past traumas, whether they distract you and put blinders on you so you can't see the future. They're meant to keep you in the past because certain things, certain people, certain entities, they thrive when you don't. That's the overarching reason why you have to get your mind and your body right now, especially in 2023. Because this is about building a new future. The future is going to be built regardless. You want to be on I'm not going to say the right side of it, but you want to be on the side where you are thriving. Okay. So don't get distracted. Don't fall for the bullshit. Don't fall for the bait. You really have to work on yourself. Because when you work on yourself, when we all work on ourselves individually, we can come together. If we are whole within ourselves, we can come together as a whole. It's very hard to punch somebody with your index finger, right? That shit makes no sense. You punch somebody with your fucking fist, right? We are the fist. But you have to get yourself whole first, and then we can all get whole together. So that's Pluto. I mean, that's the major transit for 2023. All right, so keep that in mind. Let's keep it moving. All right, so throughout the spring, we've got some eclipse energy and some retrograde energy. So eclipses happen at the nodes, at the lunar nodes, the north node and the south node. I really need to do a dedicated video on that because going into that, at length would take some time. But as of now, for the first part of 2023, the north node and the south node will remain in Taurus and Scorpio, respectively. They've been there for the last year and change, okay? And so on April 20th, we're going to have a solar eclipse in Taurus, okay? And so this basically means that whatever you need resource-wise to get you to where you need to go, the universe is going to provide that to you. So you're going to want to take a look at where Taurus is in your natal chart, and that's where you're going to experience this energy of newness, okay? Solar eclipses always happen at the new moon, and it's like a new moon on steroids, okay? Now, keep in mind, I want you to go back to the end of 2021, specifically November. That is when we first started to have these eclipses along the Taurus and Scorpio axis. So whatever area of your natal chart this Taurus and Scorpio axis falls into is where you've been seeing this change, right? From the end of 2021 through 2022 and into the first part of 2023. So it's like this story is continuing. So again, pay very close attention to where Taurus and Scorpio are in your natal chart. And that's where you've had these rapid fire sort of changes. That's where you've had the universe step in and either eclipse people, places, and things that you needed into your life or eclipsed out all the people, places, and things that you didn't. Okay, so that story is going to keep going on April 20th. Now, because it's going down in Taurus, this is all about building foundations, building new foundations. It's also about things like money, material possessions, assets, and relationships. Okay, and the whole purpose of this particular solar eclipse in Taurus is to stabilize and fix the energy. So whatever is going on in your life, wherever Taurus and Scorpio are, this eclipse is going to help to stabilize that. But keep in mind, sometimes you have to destabilize before you can stabilize. So again, take a look at where Taurus is in your chart, and that's where this energy will be going down. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so next up, we've got Mercury retrograde number 2. And this is going down also in the sign of Taurus. And it's going to be from April 21st to May 15th. And so we already know what Mercury retrograde is. I don't need to really go into that. But This is going to give you the opportunity to reevaluate your values, your self-worth, your assets, and your money. It may also give you a do-over with respect to financial matters, to financial plans, and to relationships. All right. So those are going to be the major themes for that particular Mercury retrograde in Taurus. All right. Going to keep that one short and sweet because we still have a lot to cover. All right. So then, just so you know, there's 4 eclipses every single year, and they happen back to back. We have one set in the spring and then one set in the fall. So April 20th, we have that solar eclipse, that new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. And then right on the heels of that, on May 5th, you're going to have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Again, I want you to look at where Scorpio is in your natal chart. That is where this energy is going down. So anytime you're talking about a lunar eclipse, it happens at the full moon. It's when the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So lunar eclipses are all about complete illumination. It's like someone, you know, that light that they shine into the sky when they're calling Batman? Imagine someone just, I guess it's a floodlight maybe. Imagine that sort of light being focused on a particular area of your life. That's what a lunar eclipse is like, okay? It's also a time where you can have a major ending of some sort, but not in a bad way. It could be an ending where you finally complete something, okay? Lunar eclipse in Scorpio can be interesting. Secrets could be uncovered. People could die at that time. So that's something to take note of, all right? It's a very emotional time. This is the time when repressed emotions really come to the surface and slap you in the face, okay? So full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio is hella emotional, okay? Lot of secrets uncovered, repressed emotions resurfacing. Whatever needs to be eclipsed out of your life will be eclipsed out of your life in a major way, in a way that is permanent, okay? Scorpio is ruled by Mars. It's also ruled by Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's the planet of death and rebirth. So whatever is eclipsed out of your life at the Scorpio lunar eclipse, it will likely be eclipsed for good, okay? Very permanent. It's also a great time to get rid of bad habits. You can get rid of bad habits permanently. Anything that stands in the way of you getting to where you need to be, anything that gets in the way of your soul's mission, of your life purpose, it can literally be eclipsed out of your life permanently at this full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, okay? And again, it's complete illumination or complete culmination. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so our next planetary ingress, okay? And an ingress is when a planet changes signs. It's going to be Jupiter in Taurus, okay? And this is going down on May 16th. And then it'll go retrograde in Taurus from September 4th to December 30th, all right? So Jupiter takes basically about a year to get through each sign. The complete cycle of Jupiter takes 12 years. It takes 12 years for Jupiter to get through the entire wheel of the zodiac. And we just had Jupiter restart its cycle around the zodiac the other day when it entered Aries, okay? And so it's going to stay in Aries from now until May, and then on May 16th, it will go into Taurus, okay? Now, remember I said Jupiter in Aries, if you watch the weekly astro forecast that I did on Monday, Jupiter in Aries is fast moving. It's about bold, dynamic energy. It's about creating your own opportunities, taking risk. Remember I said fortune favors the bold. Jupiter in Taurus is almost the opposite. It's when things slow down. It's when things calm down. Rather than looking externally for things, right, as you would with Aries, Jupiter in Aries is very external energy. You create your own opportunities externally. Because Taurus is a feminine sign, that energy of opportunity and abundance is kind of directed inward. Okay. The answers that we seek are within us. And Jupiter in Taurus calls on us to remember our innate wisdom. Okay. Jupiter has a very spiritual element to it as well, because just like I said, Pisces has a spiritual element. The ruling planet for Pisces is Jupiter. So Jupiter is about spirituality. It's about expanding your mind. When we have Jupiter in a grounded earth sign like Taurus, it's really about finding the knowledge within, finding the abundance within. It's also about making real and tangible movement toward our goals. So even though our wisdom can be found within, our abundance and our expansion is being done in a very real and tangible way. We're doing real things. We're working with tangible things in order to create our abundance, in order to have our abundance. By and large, Jupiter in Taurus is about putting in the work. Jupiter in Aries gives you the motivation. It puts that battery in your back to want to create abundance. But Jupiter in Taurus is actually about putting in that work, right? Don't they say in the Bible that faith without works is dead? That is the essence of Jupiter in Taurus energy. If you're not, you can't expect results from the work that you didn't do, okay? And if you do the work, Jupiter will provide the abundance in kind, all right? It's also about trusting the process to obtain results. Taurus energy, it's slow moving, it's methodical in a way. It's about putting in the physical work, right? Think about an ox, right? That's like plowing a field. Just goes back and forth and back and forth. It's that methodical work, right? And so knowing that that methodical work will lead to results is going to make this transit make a lot of sense to you. Because again, it's not some flash in the pan lump sum of money that you find in a taxi cab kind of a thing. This is abundance that comes from your actual physical work, okay? That spiritual energy, right? Remember I just said Jupiter is about spiritual energy. That spiritual energy can yield actual, tangible, big dollar results. Again, you cannot expect results from the work you didn't do, but if you do the work, Jupiter in Taurus will provide the abundance, especially if you're doing spiritual work. One of the things I've been hearing a lot and even thinking myself is, all right, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, if I'm doing my soul's mission, my life's purpose, my life's work, like how am I going to make money? Jupiter in Taurus is like, you don't got to worry about that. I'll worry about that for you. You just do the work. I'll provide the money. That's basically how it works. So get on your spiritual path, work on your soul's mission, and spirit will take care of your physical abundance. Okay. One of the other things that you have to watch out for with Jupiter in Taurus, well, basically with Jupiter in any sign, is excess. Okay. Excess and overindulging. And if we're talking about Taurus, we are talking about food. We're talking about luxury items. We're talking about spending, things that make us feel good. You don't want to squander your abundance on these things, okay? Especially because 2024 is going to be an 8-year, and 8 is all about money. You're going to need all the resources, right? So indulge sometimes, right? I'm not saying, live like a monk or anything like that, but just be mindful of overindulging, be mindful of gluttony and those kind of things, particularly when Jupiter is in Taurus. All right, let's keep it moving. So next up, we have Venus in Leo, okay? Now, Venus is one of the personal planets. It's actually the planet that comes right after Mercury. And so when we're talking about a yearly forecast, we're really only talking about the outer planets, because whenever the outer planets moves, that's when the energy really shifts. Talking about Venus is usually something I would reserve for the monthly forecast, because that is when Venus would have more of an impact on your life during the monthlies. But I bring up Venus in this yearly because Venus is going to be spending a large amount of time in Leo because it's going to be going retrograde. So in the same manner as Mars only goes retrograde every 18 months or so. So you don't get a Mars retrograde every year. So we're in 2022 and we have Mars retrograde. Before then, we didn't have a Mars retrograde since 2020. Now, I believe we started 2021 with a Venus retrograde. Notice that we didn't have Venus retrograde in 2022, but we will in 2023. So Venus goes retrograde about every 20 or 20 months, basically. So in 2023, Venus is going to go retrograde in Leo. So it's going to initially enter Leo on June 5th. It's going to go retrograde from July 23rd to September 4th. And then it's going to leave Leo and enter Virgo on October 8th. So Venus in Leo generally is focusing on love, romance, creativity, and children. Okay, it's about following your heart, being courageous in love matters, being childlike, free-spirited, and a little risky when it comes with money, right? It's also by and large about having fun. Leo energy is lighthearted. It's fun. It covers entertainment. So Venus in Leo has a very lighthearted and spirited nature to it. Now, when Venus goes retrograde, we take all of that Venus energy and we apply it inward. Okay. Venus retrograde, more so than Mercury retrograde, is when you may have an ex coming back, particularly Venus in Leo. Venus in Leo is all about romance. So past romance is going to come back to slap you in the face or slap you in the ass, whichever you prefer. But it's really return of the exes. Okay. That's one of those things that it really doesn't need much explanation. But in evaluating whether you should take someone back or whether you should reinvest in a past relationship, you need to determine whether it's in alignment with your heart. Not with your private parts, not with your head, with your heart. Is your heart's truest desire being fulfilled with this relationship? That's going to be the litmus test for the return of the ex. All right. Don't just get back with them because they look better now. Maybe they lost some weight. Maybe they put on some muscle. Maybe they got a little money, right? Maybe they're a little flashy. Venus and Leo tends to be really flashy. All right. This is going to be, do they align with your heart? Is your heart chakra open? Apart from just exes coming back, this is going to be re-examining your heart chakra. Okay. I really like this Venus retrograde because it's really about realigning your heart chakra, doing heart chakra work. Okay. It's going to be great for that. Not just that. It's also going to be great for inner child work. I don't care who you are. At some point in time, you have to address your inner child. The more that you ignore your inner child, the louder they are going to get. And they're going to start to act out. And they're going to start to act out in weird and inappropriate ways. So Venus retrograde in Leo really allows you to address your inner child, address your inner child wounds, okay? I feel like this Venus retrograde can be extremely illuminating. I think a lot of work can be done in terms of healing your heart, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. When it comes to issues with relationships, issues with our heart chakras, issues with our creativity. Now, if we're talking about creativity, we're talking about our sacral chakra. So we're also talking a little bit about sex and maybe sexual trauma, sexual healing that needs to occur. Okay, so this Venus in Leo retrograde may be difficult for some people, especially if you've never addressed your heart or sacral chakras, especially if you've never addressed your inner child. But it's going to be the opportune time to do so. Okay. Now, some don'ts during Venus retrograde. You do not want to get married during a Venus retrograde. That is like a sure sign for divorce, okay? And what sucks is that this Venus in Leo retrograde is right smack in the middle of wedding season. So I'm not going to say, get your popcorn and sit back and see all the marriages that are going to fail, but maybe I am saying that just a little bit. You definitely don't want to get married during a Venus retrograde. It's not a good look. No new relationships either. Starting a new relationship under Venus retrograde isn't really a good look either. Probably won't last. Okay. No new financial plans, projects, or investments. So maybe your heart health, your heart chakra health, your inner child health is okay, right? Then Venus retrograde may hit you in your wallet. This may be a time to really assess your finances, okay? So maybe a time to look at how you've been spending your money, especially on things like leisure and entertainment. So with Venus retrograde, this is not a time to start any new financial projects. They probably won't last. You definitely want to wait until the after Venus leaves the retrograde period. One of the other things you don't want to do with Venus retrograde is change your appearance. I find that when people get body work done, change their hair, haircuts, hair colors, they usually don't come out right with Venus retrograde. All right. So hold off on doing anything aesthetics wise to your body while Venus in retrograde. But some of the things that you do want to do with Venus retrograde is save your money, harness your creativity, and like I said before, do that inner child and that heart healing work. You might also want to do some sacral chakra work as well to address creativity, fertility, or sexual energy issues. All right, so that's Venus and Leo. Let's keep it moving. All right, so I talked before about the North and South node, and that's where the eclipses happen, right? Well, in July, specifically July 18th, the North and South node are going to change signs. So currently it's in Taurus. Taurus has the North node, Scorpio has the South node. So on July 18th of 2023, Aries will be the new North node and Libra will be the new South node, okay? This is all about me, Aries, versus we, Libra. This is about individuality versus partnership. This is the axis of relationships, our relationship to ourselves and our relationship to others. This is the theme that's going to be playing out while the North node is in Aries and the South node is in Libra. And beginning on July 18th of 2023 and for the next 18 months, that is where the North and South nodes will be. But one of the biggest sort of themes of Aries versus Libra is war versus peace. This is why it is important to be whole in yourself, in spirit and in body. Because once the nodes go into Aries and Libra, it's going to be an all-out war. And the last person that you want to be at war with is yourself. Some of us may find that we have external issues with people. We may be warring with people outside of ourselves. The last thing we need is to be warring with people outside of ourselves and within ourselves. So war versus peace is going to be a big theme, not only personally, but I think in society as well. This is going to be about desire versus consideration. This is going to be about being selfish versus selfless, or at least equal, right? All of these are going to play out. And of course, it depends on where this is going down in your chart. But I really think that the major theme of North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra is going to be war and peace. And so you're going to want to get right with yourself. It doesn't even have to be as dramatic as getting right with yourself, right? You can't have successful partnerships if your relationship to yourself is janky, right? This is where that spiritual and physical work come together and ties it all back to 2023 being a 7 universal year. This is about getting your mind right, getting your spirit right, getting your body right. And when you are whole, you attract people who are whole. Lately I've been seeing a lot of content, both on like Instagram and YouTube about relationship issues, how women don't do this, men don't do this. If you're not right within, you cannot be right without. You cannot attract treasure if you yourself are, garbage. And I don't mean to say that in a harsh way, obviously, but you attract who and what you are. And Aries and Libra allows you to set the scales right. Okay. So we are whole. We're attracting people that are whole. We know what we're here to do. We're doing it. And as we're doing it, our abundance is coming to us. That's basically how 2023 can look for you if you're willing to put in the work. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. So next up, we've got Mercury retrograde 3, and this is going down in the sign of Virgo. So from August 23rd to September 15th, Mercury will be retrograde in the sign of Virgo. And this is about an emphasis on your daily routine, reviewing things related to work, related to health, reviewing details, reviewing contracts, perfecting your craft. Mercury retrograde in Virgo allows you to redo things, redo things that are part of your daily routine. It allows you to hone in on your skills. It allows you to go back through things with a fine-tooth comb and fix them. It's very tedious work. I'll definitely say Mercury retrograde in Virgo is tedious and detailed oriented. But if you do the work, it's really going to set you up right. And then finally, Mercury retrograde in Virgo is going to be about being of service. So maybe things that you had missed before, areas where you could have been of service before, you may be able to do that now. This is important because remember what I said about Pluto in Aquarius. It's about humanitarianism. Venus, Mercury retrograde in Virgo is going to get you to see how you can be of service to others. This is going to be important going into 2024, with 2024 being a year about money. Realizing where you could be of service to people while Mercury is in Virgo is going to set you up financially for 2024. All right. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but you start doing the work now and things are just going to snowball into place as the years progress. All right. So that was Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So next up, we have a solar eclipse in Libra. So this is going to be the first eclipse after the nodes change signs. So this is the first eclipse on that Aries Libra axis. Okay. So it's going to be going down on October 14th. Because it's a solar eclipse, it's happening at the new moon. So it's going to be all about new beginnings. In what? Relationships. This is all going to be new relationship stuff. This is going to be about reestablishing balance, fairness, and justice in your relationships. Okay. This is the right people entering your life at the right time to establish the right things and restore balance. Okay. There's also going to be a bit of a karmic energy to this solar eclipse, right? And karma is literally just cause and effect. It doesn't have any, we assign moral attributes to karma, but karma is literally just cause and effect. But with it going down, with the solar eclipse going down in the sign of Libra, it's going to be about karma, cause and effect, but most importantly, balance in our relationships. Okay. Let's keep it moving. We're almost done. Remember I said before that eclipses come in pairs. So that first solar eclipse is in Libra, and then we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus. This is going to be the last part of the story with respect to the nodes being in Taurus and Scorpio. So remember I said, think back to 2021. That's when that first lunar eclipse in Taurus happened, around end of October, beginning of November of 2021. By the end of 2023, October 28th specifically, that is when that story is going to end finally. Whatever is meant to be in place, and again, you're going to want to look at your natal chart, see where Taurus and Scorpio are. Whatever's been going down in those two signs since the end of 2021, that is going to come to a culmination on, I'm not going to say on October 28th, but by the end of 2023, by October 2023, that story is going to be done. It's going to be written, it's going to be sealed, and it's going to be in the books, okay? Large culmination, complete illumination, the final showdown, and it's when you're going to see the literal fruits of your labor. So again, it all depends on where it is in your natal chart, but by that time, the story will have been written, signed, sealed, delivered, and the book will be closed on that chapter. All right. And then finally, The very last thing that I will discuss about 2023 is the last Mercury retrograde. All right. Call it Mercury retrograde 4. That's going down in the sign of Capricorn. So it's going to be the exact same carbon copy. Well, not the exact same carbon copy, but it's going to be very similar to this Mercury retrograde that we are experiencing now. So the way that we're ending this year is how we are going to end next year as well. And again, it's going to be looking back at work issues. It's going to be do-overs with respect to financial plans, work plans, practical matters. And it's also going to be reviewing your successes, your achievements, and your accomplishments. So again, the same way that we are ending 2022 is the same way that we're going to be ending 2023. All right, my friends, that is the yearly astro forecast for 2023. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information going into 2023 that you find useful. All right. So from now until January 15th, I'm only exclusively doing natal chart reports and progressed natal chart reports. I'm not doing any readings. I'm not doing anything else. I've dedicated my time to that because remember, I said going into 2023, you need to know yourself. And one of the best ways to start learning about yourself is via a natal chart or a progressed natal chart report. So if you're interested in ordering any of those links will be in the description box below. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Happy 2023, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, y'all.